G'day friends, welcome to today's WHIMSYWEEN video. My name's James, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. Today I'm going to be using my 2x6 doll parts stamp set. Now this is a new stamp set and spoiler warning for any Playtest 2 Playbox patrons from September. If you haven't received your box yet, please turn off the video or you have probably already seen the spoiler. I mean, it's here. I can't hold it in any longer. I know I really try my best to keep it from you, but the more I try to keep everything a secret, the less I have to show because I work really hard on all this stuff and it's like, how much longer should I keep it a secret? I honestly don't know if everyone's received their boxes yet, but if you have, you'll already have seen this, and if you haven't, I'm so sorry if you didn't want a spoiler out there, but I do have to start sharing it, otherwise we'll get to the end of October and there'll be like 60 videos all at once. So that's what I'm going to stick with. That's my story. I hope that's okay with you. I'm using the stamp set today and I'm doing what we do with the concept stamp set and I'm stamping out my illustration. So if you're new to these parts, earlier this year around Creativation time, I made a demo stamp set called Concepts, which I just wanted to demo with at the show. And it seemed like it would actually be really fun to, produce as a product. So we ended up doing that, and it has become its own workshop, in-person workshop, which I am doing in Australia. You guys always ask me to take these workshops on the road, so I have decided to do it for the first time. I've only taught in person in California before, so this will be the first time I'm actually venturing overseas to do it, and I'm doing it in my hometown, so prepare yourself. Anyone that is already registered, you're going to hear a lot of nostalgic trips down memory lane, I'm sure, because it's fun. But anyway, so I'm going to do those workshops, and we're doing the concept stamping workshop, which is very similar to what you're going to see in this on the screen today, where you are collage stamping, or you're just stamping out an illustration, kind of like a blueprint to work with. And I like to just draw straight on top of it. I like to use a light colored ink. Obviously for video purposes, I do have to use an ink that will show up on the screen. So whilst I chose gray and did a second generation stamp, I did the first imprint off to the side on a scrap piece of paper, then I went into my journal. In real life, I would probably choose a really, really light colored ink and just work over the top of it. But I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing, so that's why I chose the grey today. It's VersaFine Smoky Grey, but it is a little too bold to go straight in with it. But I like the dark grey because it kind of works well with the graphite pencil. As it is, I end up watercoloring this anyway. But this is kind of the idea of what we do with concept stamps. You might have already seen some of the tutorials online as well. I have a bunch of concept stamp tutorials on YouTube. The in-person workshop is just a really fun way to get together and play real-time, get all these tips and tricks out, sharing each other's knowledge. And also, we do have an activity booklet. We have, what are they called? Class companions that are kind of little workshop booklets that you work with during your class, and there's lots of fun stuff in there to use and play with, but also information you can take with you after the fact, and a place just to kind of keep all of that workshop information, just so you can self-direct your own learning after the fact, because the workshop only lasts for a couple of hours, but obviously you're going to want to go home and try some more of that. So we just have these class companions to work with, and the one for the concept stamping workshop is more an activity booklet, so you actually do a lot of stamping in there. I've had a great time with it. I can't wait to bring those down to Australia. Let's see how heavy my bag gets, because I'm also going to try and bring a bunch of my own personal journals just for a bit of a show and tell. It's just going to be great. I'm really excited about it. Check the link to Etsy in the description box below if you are curious to know more about those in-person workshops in Australia. It's November 9th, it's a Saturday. I got 2 workshops, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. This was all in my updates video, so I'm probably not going to bore you with any more information, but just want to make sure that it's out there so that anyone can go and check that if that's something you're interested in. It's on the central coast of New South Wales, Australia, in a little town called Wyong. If you know where Wyong is, you'll know why I laugh inside my head when I say that. And out loud, I guess. Wyong is just a really interesting place, but it is where I grew up, so I have really fun memories of it. So the Central Coast is pretty interesting. There's like really, really beautiful parts, and there's like really random parts. So yeah, that's where we're going to be. It's the same place that we had the meetup last year. And I had a really great time with you all there too. So I can't wait to meet the people that have signed up already, and to the people that will sign up just before we go. I'm really excited to meet you as well. Let's move on. Let's just talk about what I'm doing in the video. I chose the Wicked Witch of the West Side prompt. And at this point, because I'm not going chronologically, I've seen a lot of people's interpretations of this already, and this is just why I love prompts lists. because everyone is so open to their own interpretation. You're going to pull from what you understand, from the subject matter that you work with. You're going to try and, you know what I mean? Like when you go and dive inside your own brain and you try and figure out the prompt, it's just always so much more revealing about, the things that you like, or, where you get your inspiration from. Sometimes even what kind of a person you are sometimes. It can be very revealing. Be careful. But, for this one, I saw a lot of interpretation that was West Side Story. Totally made sense, but I will be honest, I don't think I really thought about that when I was doing it. I wanted to do the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz, but every time I do a prompts list, it has to be just a little extra. So I went to the Wicked Witch. I was going to do the Wicked Witch of the East, but I thought, I don't know how to make something East work. So I thought Wicked Witch of the West Side, because there was this little thing I did in my planner, and I just had a big, like, oversized sweater kind of a sticker, and I put a little witch's hat on it, and I was like, oh, I love this urban street style kind of effect, and I thought it'd be really interesting to do. So my take on it was West Side of LA, and I just wanted to use urban street style fashions on the witches and give them that kind of a look. So that's where I've gone with it today, but I still brought in my Wicked Witch of the East with the striped stockings and the red ruby slippers because we can't forget that it was the Witch of the East that wore those slippers first. And the Wicked Witch of the West was doing the right thing in just trying to get them back because they were her only memory of her poor long lost sister. That's the story I'm sticking to. They did look really good on Judy Garland, though. Oh, by the way, I saw the Judy biopic with Renee Zellweger. I thought she did a really great job. I'm not here to give movie reviews because honestly, what's my opinion worth? I mean, take it with a grain of salt. I do love Judy Garland. I just think Renee Zellweger she's incredible. I think I've always underrated her as a performer, like as an actor. She can sing, she can dance, she can act. Triple threat, I live for it. I'm really into you, Renee. In case you're watching, she had a good other show on recently. What was it on television? I think it was called What If? No, I don't think it was called that. Something like that. It was two very simple words. I'm not quite sure what it was, but she played kind of a villain in that, and I thought she was fantastic. So I did see the Judy biopic. Steve and I actually went for our 3rd wedding anniversary that we had. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, I didn't post that on social media. Honestly, I feel like you guys really don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I know in playtest 2, I was really going behind the scenes of like the business and everything, but I forget that there is a personal life that I have that I rarely share. And that's because I don't share it anywhere else either. Like, it just never occurs to me to share a lot of that stuff. Maybe in the podcasts we used to do on playtest, where like if Steve gets on here, we usually share a bit more personally. But I think I'm working a lot lately, so I don't have a lot of a personal life to share. But if I did have something to say, we did have our 3rd wedding anniversary, so snaps for that. And we chose to go and see Judy, of all things, at the movies. It was very extra, it was very that, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was what I did, but I put those ruby slippers on the witches, and like I said, this idea is very much that concept stamping, where we stamp out a blueprint and use that as the base for the illustration. And once you put all the watercolor over it, you're not going to see those little stamped lines under there. I just wanted to make a really loose watercolor kind of an effect because that's what I've been enjoying lately. I think ever since I got back onto that urban sketching kick, I really wanted to go nuts with the watercolor. And I've been throwing watercolor splatters on everything, even ink. Like you can see on the page on the left, that was from an Instagram live where we'd done the whole thing and I was like, should I just throw ink on this? I've been having a really weird urge to do it a lot, like a lot. It's happening all over the place, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. So that's just where I'm at in my creative journey. Are you guys there? Is anyone else joining me for this random throw paint at your page phase that I'm going through? I don't know. It's very liberating. It's scary, but I kind of like it. So that's it. That's my prompt for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I really like how they came out. I thought it was really fun and kind of an interesting effect. My favorite parts are obviously the really big gold chain jewelry. Like, that's just, I mean, it's so graphic and bold. I love it. But also the middle witch. I think the middle and the left witch, I love their hats. The middle one I chose to do a baseball cap, but with the pointy witch's hat at the top, and then the left one has a beanie. The one on the right was supposed to be more of a bowler hat, but I realized once I drew the top on it, it was just looked like a regular witch's hat anyway, just with a really small brim. But yeah, I think they turned out kind of exactly how I hoped they would, and I'm really excited for this new doll part stamp set. You can see I used today I used the face, the hands, and the legs and feet. So I didn't actually use any of the body or any of the arms or anything. So this is something I do want to dive into deeper when I do make the tutorials for that stamp set, the tutorial videos, because I do want to explain a bit about why I designed them and how I like to use them. I don't necessarily use all the pieces to create a full body, but they do come in useful for things like this, where I just wanted to do some quick legs, quick face. You know, it really wasn't so much about like, oh, can I draw every face really unique today? It was, I have an idea, I have a concept, I just want to execute it and have some fun painting. So I just think, these stamping and illustration thing, like I never would have thought in a million years that I'd really enjoy doing it, but it has become such a fun way to take out a lot of that, you know, that step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and just get straight to the fun part with the coloring and the painting. Sometimes I do want to draw them from scratch, but yeah, I don't know. You know, my mood just goes anywhere and everywhere, and some days I just want to stamp it out and start playing. So I'm really excited about that, and I am really excited to bring those workshops to Australia because I think it's a super fun process, and it can be as involved or as simple as you like. That's what I like about it as well. Obviously, the doll part stamp set has a bit of a learning curve to it, although I have seen some people just figure it out from the get-go, so maybe it wasn't as difficult as I explained it. That could most definitely be the case, but it is a bit more of an advanced look into how to put those bodies together, and, you know, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I've got a few examples to show of how they don't work, just debating whether I'll show them or not. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive more into those doll part stamp sets because I just think they've been a really great way to get these bodies onto a page without having to worry about all of the proportions and, you know, how they're going to look and how they're going to be, especially for when I'm just thinking of ideas, concepts, like just play. It doesn't have to be anything, and that's kind of where I like to live a lot of the time anyway. The one thing I will mention from that updates video that I said, where I'm still in two minds about scaling them because they are quite small, it's a 2x6 stamp set, and you can see some of those things are really, really small. Like the hands are so delicate, the little feet, little joints for the knees and the elbows and stuff, they can be really, really small. But you can see how, like, this is an A5 notebook. That stamp fills up that entire page. So this is why I'm a little hesitant to scale it up, because I think when you're creating the full body, it's just going to take you off the page. Like, you're going to need an A3 notebook if I scale it up to a much bigger size. So I don't know. I'll keep thinking about it. I will promise to give it a really good thought. But for now, I'm just really, really enjoying them. And I kind of love that they're a little smaller because they do work in my in all my journals, like my traveler's notebook, my Fobonichi 5-year. I shouldn't say my Fobonichi, I have not been in it. I know I wrote an article in the Playtest Press about how I neglected it, and even that didn't get me back into it. Or I think it did. I think I filmed a birthday spread in there, and then I left it for another month. But I did do a little Whimsyween. I did Fall Fairies as one of my prompts, and I just decided to do it in my Fobonichi so that I could get back in there, because I do love it, and I really want to commit to it. But also with these new illustrated inserts, like, I'm thinking I might want to ditch the Phobo for a while and do my weekly documenting in the illustrated inserts. If you guys have got your playboxes, you'll know what I'm talking about again. Or this weekend, actually. I'm supposed to be doing an Etsy restock on Friday, which is the day this video is going up. So if it's not done on Friday, hopefully over this weekend, I'll have some new washi stickers, I'll have the doll part stamps in there, I'll have the illustrated inserts, some of the journal charms in there. I'm hoping to do a bit of a restock, so just double check if that's something you're interested in. I know a few people have been trying to grab a second illustrated insert because we're already at the stage where we're hoarding the first one, which I understand. I mean, personally, I'm not there because I've got all the spares, but I do feel you on that. Like I've always said, please photocopy the pages if you're afraid you're going to ruin them. You could literally just make a photocopy duplicate, but I've also been testing a lot of mediums in there as well. And I know I said that watercolor doesn't work super well in there, but I did manage to get it to work pretty well in there. So I should probably get one of those inserts on camera soon and try and work through maybe one of the Whimsyween prompts in there. I did the Tim Burton Tea Party in there, but I didn't film it, unfortunately. But I could possibly redo that one online. I don't know. I'll think about that. For now, please enjoy these close-ups. I'll be back for more Whimsyween content throughout October, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and I hope if you have your doll part stamp set, this encourages you to get them out and have a bit of a play. Okay, that's it from me. I'll see you soon. Bye.